My name is Daphne Russell, and I am a literacy consultant. Well, a literacy consultant is there's probably thousands of literacy consultants, but the way that I look at it is a person who is dedicated to leveling the literacy playing field for the largest number of people with a universal method and will not stop until every iteration that could ever be figured out is just done and done and done and done. Not living with certainty, but living with uncertainty and continuing forward till the largest number of people can read comfortably, happily, confidently. It's so important to me because I recognize as a child that I would have been extremely ignorant if it had not been for the books that I read. And I read widely. I didn't always read the assigned books at school, but I was always reading. My mom took me to the library when I was little. My dad was a school teacher. And when I was in college, particularly, I had a professor that told us all that all the kids deserved reading journeys. And I'm like, that's cool. And then she put us all in reading journeys. And I'm like, that's cool. So I was reading James Baldwin and Catcher in the Rye, even though I didn't like it, but I read it because I didn't read it in high school. And I thought, well, I should try that. But then I read Zora Neale Hurston, and I couldn't read Zora Neale Hurston. So someone said, well, try Alice Walker first and then read Zora Neale Hurston, because then I would be a little bit more used to the dialect that I was reading. And those experiences changed my life. They made me less ignorant than I was. And to me, what's more important than that, than becoming? And so I took that idea back I went to Florida State and I took that idea back to Tucson. And then I spent the next 37 years trying to figure that out. It's hard to figure out something so complicated because you hear a lot of information about how children learn literacy, and there's a lot of dispute over how that looks. And so I would listen to one side, try that, listen to the other side, try that, listen to all the sides, try that. But the whole time I was synthesizing all of the sides, plus my degrees, plus everything I read, plus every child in front of me. So I have, if you're an expert at 10,000 hours, I have like hundreds and thousands of hours of experience of trying to create readers. So creating a reader is acknowledging that we all have this within us, believing that it's possible. And so trying to figure out how that happened and how it could happen for everyone was how I dedicated my life. I was born in Tucson, Arizona, to my mom and they're all half brothers, and my father adopted all my brothers. And then my mom and my dad had me. And my mom left when I was 5. So I was alone with my dad, who was a school teacher, and 4 brothers in the 70s at the end of a cul-de-sac, basically raised like a wolf, like actually. And so it was like fend for your all eating and fend for yourself everything. And but I was safe, literally safe, because everyone was kind of on the same team. And my dad would come home every single day from teaching and tell us stories of overcoming. He was the teacher who, he came home every day. Oh, guess what this kid did? Oh, guess what this kid overcame? And it was constant. So when I went through school myself, and I did okay, middle of my class, but I played sports. And then I recognized that people could not put in their minds how someone could be smart and athletic, and which is obviously completely not true. So I had beliefs inside of me, but I didn't hold on to them, the negative beliefs. And then I had this dad that was like, everyone overachieved, everyone overcomes all day long, every day. And that's how I went into education. Every kid can, period. I just have to figure out how to help them do whatever it is they need to do. I didn't have anyone in my life that was illiterate. I did know that something was different between my brothers and me. My mom put them all through Evelyn Wood's speed reading. And I can tell you now what was different about that than the way I was reading. I was reading what I refer to as introspectively. I was reading and going inward into my mind and adjusting my thinking and questioning the author's thoughts, my thoughts. My brothers, on the other hand, generally would read in a straight line and not churn with it on the inside. So they spent a lot of time confirming their thoughts. And if you spend your whole time reading and confirming your thoughts, then you could just live with confirmation bias the rest of your life, happily live. And I knew that wasn't right. So it wasn't that I had someone that was illiterate, but I did have enough experience seeing kids that I knew that I was letting down and I didn't know what to do. And that didn't sit well with me. And I knew that I didn't have the answer. And I just kept searching for what could I do for the kids that I couldn't help. Like the ones from the first day when I taught 6th grade in September of 1989. Like if I knew now if I could go back in time, oh my gosh, everything would be completely different. It would be more peaceful. It'd be just so beautiful. And then all of those kids would have gone on reading journeys, and then it would generatively go through their entire families. Instead, I had no idea what I was doing. And I just knew that there was something better. But I just want to say, I did have the greatest cheerleader in the whole entire world. So what I lacked in having my mom around, I had an educator who I'd known since I was 5. And then she was at my school when I was in 5th grade, but I didn't have her. But then when I played softball for her, and she was really one of the greatest humans ever, and just like the ultimate cheerleader. And she believed, and it's belief. Everything's about belief. Every single thing is about belief. And she believed in me when I couldn't, and then I just kept going. So Deb Cottrell, if you hear this, you know who you are, and you help me find me, which I appreciate. She's still with us. I went to visit her in Martha's Vineyard a couple years ago. She's still a firecracker, and we text still. We still even text. She had my book on the beach in the Bahamas, probably November of this year, and she texted me and asked me if I had another book after that. My book is called Read or Die. What happened was I figured out my literacy ideas with the kids in front of me, and I just kept watching them going, what is going on with you? And the more gentle and kind and compassionate I was, the more I allowed the opportunity for them to find themselves. And then they were finding themselves. And I'm like, how is this even happening? And by then I had been writing for about 15 years. And my wife kept saying, you should write about teaching. I'm like, no, thank you. She's like, you should write about teaching. I'm like, I'm good, thank you. And then she just kept telling me over and over again to keep writing. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I started on day 1, and I started writing about this kid sitting in front of me, Abel, and he had been retained in 7th grade. So he was repeating 7th grade for the 2nd time. And I was like, I'm just gonna do what I do normally, but I'm gonna watch what happens closely. So I watched him and the others, and he just started this reading journey that was just magical. And I can't say for sure what would have happened if I hadn't written about him. And I was like, Abel, I'm writing about you. But it happened all around him also. And then by the end of that year, we had a conversation, and I was like, so what are you doing? Or, what are you going to do now? So now he's finishing 7th grade. All of his friends were going to 9th grade. He was going to 8th grade. And he said, well, did I tell you? And I'm like, what? He goes, I'm going to get a job in the library. I'm like, shut up, Abel. Nobody's going to believe that when I tell them that. What? Seriously? He's like, no. I applied for a job in the library. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Okay. And then I was like, you know what? You could probably go to a charter school and make up the time. He's like, oh. And I didn't see him again. That was the end of our conversation. The next time I saw him, he was in 10th grade with his actual original classmates. And then it was 2020, and he was supposed to graduate. And I was like, Abel, I cannot tell the world about you if you don't graduate. So I called a friend who worked at that same high school, and I'm like, Michelle, you better check on Abel. She's like, I got you. And she called his mentor. The mentor's like, hey, Abel, you got like these 3 classes, let's go. And Abel graduated on time with the class that he originally started with. And it was just so beautiful. And then I had his his nephew the next year, and did the same thing. And so I just figured out that the kids actually have all that they need inside of them. They've already been exposed to all of everything, all of the words, all the sounds, all of that they need. It's inside. I just provided the opportunity with a curated stack of books that would allow them to find themselves. And then they just start reading, they find themselves, and they become who they're meant to become, and they start on their own path. In addition to working with kids, I also work with adults. So adults that I meet, really the adults that seek me out, they're just my kids that I had in class grown up, and they have exactly the same original kind of like it's apprehension towards reading because they don't reach for it. And then they have been told and given a lot of messages and evidence to prove that they can't. So we start talking, and I ask them questions about childhood, and we talk about how fantastic they are at a whole bunch of things. And then they say, well, I'm not good at reading, or the words move when I try to read them, or I don't understand what it's saying. And I was told I was, this or that. And then what I do is I go back with them and I ask them if they want their adult self to go pick up their childhood self. And when the adult goes back and picks up the child, they ask the child if they want to stay there in that 4th grade room where they were shamed, or that kindergarten room where they were humiliated. And the adult just walks up and says, hey, I did it with somebody named Ken. So he went to get Kenny, and he's like, hey, Kenny, I'm here. And little Kenny was like, I thought you forgot about me. He's like, no, buddy, I'm here. He's like, do you want to come with me? And he's like, well, yes. So they take a moment and look around the room, look at the teacher who was actually doing the best they could and forgiving them, and maybe seeing if there's a kid in there they want to take with them. Because maybe they were there and they noticed that Timmy had a really hard time. They could bring Timmy out with them. But whenever the child is ready, this adult can take that child with them out of the room, down the hall, out the door, down the hall, out of the school, down the street, and then turn the corner and let go of all of that pain. And once they let go of the pain, and then they've done that on their own, I could do it with them, they could do it on their own. But once they let go of that, then this remarkable thing happens because they let go of that belief. And then they allow for the possibility that they can do something that they didn't know they could. And I guarantee every single person that I have ever met, they all can, all of them, 100% of them. There's not one person that hasn't had everything they need already here available to them. So I spent a lot of time looking for how to go tell everyone. And as I went into education, I would bump up against other people who had different ideas. And I don't have a different idea than other people. I have an extension, just a little addition. I'm not saying anyone's doing anything wrong, because everyone is literally doing the best they could. But as I tried to go to education, to share within education, my phone was not ringing. And as I was looking around, like, what do I do now? And I really had considered just giving up on the whole idea, even though I actually have a very simple key to generative leveling the playing field literacy to give away. I didn't know what else to do. And then I'm looking at my Instagram, and up pops Arlan Hamilton. And she says, DM me and I can help you. And you should be who you're supposed to be. Let your light shine so those who are looking for you can find you. And I was like, oh, that's some next level stuff there. And it hadn't occurred to me to follow someone who might be looking at coaching or looking at helping people become financially independent. I was really just looking at a way to share, but Arlan's mentality of how to give away your information, that was number one. I have information to give away, solid, life-changing information. I refuse to not give it away. Like if someone were to package it and say, I'm going to sell it, I'm like, no, I won't sell it to you. You can't have it. It's free always. And that philosophy was those two things, be who I am. So in case someone's looking for me, I'm ready. And then the idea that we need to give away the most important information to the people to help the people. Those are the reasons I followed Arlan. And then I've just been trying to keep up with all the different ideas she has and synthesize those into the best way to be me in order to give those away. And so I'm trying to reach the highest pinnacle of giving it away. There's a book called Horton Hears a Who, and all the little people on the little clover are trying to be heard. Horton can hear them, but nobody else can. And there's this little kid that yops. And the yop is the thing that breaks free of the clouds where everyone could not hear the little who's. And then all of the people hear the yop and they're like, oh, the who's are there. I'm like, that's all I'm trying to do. Get my yop out so that people can hear what it is and then give it to each other. Following Arlan is part of that is being in school, SKOOL, which I just love the idea that it's SKOOL and it's still school. And Arlan is dedicated to teaching, like 100%. Like, what can I do to share with you? And then what she does, I don't even know if she knows she does, is she models it. She is becoming and showing us how to become while she's becoming in the process of becoming, which is the only way for you to teach. Everyone has to become in order for anyone to follow them. You have to become. And Arlan is live in front of us, in front of everyone in school, in the inner circle, mastermind, in Arlan's All Access, because I'm in all three, and she's becoming. And like, you cannot have a better role model than one that's becoming and leading the path the whole time. The breadcrumbs are everywhere. And so the community within Arlan's groups are just, it's so beautiful because it's all of these people lifting. And for the last couple of weeks, I haven't been able to lift, but I know everyone's inside lifting. And all I have to do is pop back in and I will get lifted, and I can go in and lift. And I go in and lift. And when I can lift all day long, and that's, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And Arlan's complete dedication to who is in her circle is, I can't imagine it being better because all she wants to do is help. So I want to talk a little bit about adults a little bit more. I've worked with quite a few adults, but I want to talk about one particular. And just the idea of what I do is that in recognizing our school trauma, and when we let that school trauma go, it lifts us and we have nowhere to go but up. And so there's one particular person that I helped that was just hinged by it. You could just tell, and everything that she said and everything she did had this kind of like shadow of something holding her, weighting her down. And then once we went back to her 10-year-old self into the classroom where she thought that she was not as intelligent as other people, and she realized that was just a belief and it had no evidence to be true whatsoever. And actually everything in her life is actually true that wasn't, and that she was actually quite brilliant. It just 10x'd her. She found who she truly was meant to be. And ever since that moment, she's just been skyrocketing. And I can do it over and over again. And it's so easy. And that doesn't have to be me. We can share this with everyone. There's a few different ways to find me. I have a school account called Book Save Lives, and I have for free every single part of my method is available. I also have a YouTube called The Education Evolutionist. I have a subscription, email subscription. People can find me. You can find me on LinkedIn, Education Evolutionist, Daphne Russell. I'm easy to find. Reach out and we can work together. I could help 10x anywhere you are with anybody you have, because there is a significant majority of people being held back from beliefs from school, and they're not real, and they could be let go, and you can heal and move forward. My assignment is absolutely, definitely healing literacy trauma and leveling the literacy playing field for all.